Because leadership does not require permission. It requires you moving forward with conviction, with purpose.
To put women as a leader, this is not about charity. It is about recognizing that political system cannot be truly representative until parties dismantle structural barriers holding women back.
Because if you talk about it, just talking advocacy and things like that, we're talking about it for years, for ages.
It's been so long.
So we have to, to be drastic about it.
We talk about minority, giving the chance for them. But I think you've actually become that role model as well, representing
so.
the minorities.
I hope so.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to IPAcast, Amplifying Voices of IPA. IPAcast basically explores the world of ASEAN from parliamentary perspective through conversations that we're going to have with the parliamentarians, prominent figures, and experts who will share their insights and experiences on a wide range of topics. Now, we are currently in Kuching, Sarawak, as IPA is having the fourth meeting of the Coordinating Committee of Women Parliamentarians of IPA, or normally called as WIPA, from 21st to the 24th of April here in Kuching, Sarawak. So the fourth meeting of the Coordinating Committee of WIPA highlights the importance of inclusivity and gender-balanced parliaments in realizing WIPA's vision for a future-ready ASEAN this year. And today we have the opportunity to have Honorable Alice Lau Kiong Yang, Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives of Malaysia, also WIPA Chair. And to my right is Honorable Datuk Seri Doris Sophia Brody, Member of the Parliament of Malaysia, former WIPA Chairperson in the year 2015, both of whom have held the esteemed role of WIPA Chairperson. And their leadership journeys offer invaluable sights into WIPA's evolution, unwavering commitment to its priorities, and the expanding role of women in parliamentary leadership. Hello, Honorables. How are you? I want to see both. It's really an honor to actually be sandwiched by really two, strong voice from the women parliamentarians. And it's an honor. We have a strong female figures, and this is our 14th IPAcast episode. Now let's begin with the first question, which focuses on the reflections on leadership from YB Alice, and also, of course, to YB Datu Doris later. But we'll begin to hear this from YB Doris first. Now, your political journey began in the year 2010 as a senator representing Sarawak, followed by your role as a deputy president of the Senate from the year 2012 to 2016, and now as a member of parliament for Seri Aman. So what motivated you to enter politics, and was there a particular moment that strengthened your resolve to lead?
Oh, thank you. That's a very enlightening question, I should say. It actually begins 39 years ago. It's a long journey.
Wow.
Yeah. I was barely 26 years old then. If you do a bit of calculation, you would know what's my age. But then again, I would say partly it was curiosity, and partly I was driven by this strong desire to want to contribute to my community, rural community especially, so that they're not left from the mainstream of development. And that what triggers me. So in 1986, 16th of September, I joined a political party, which was then Parti Bangsa Dayak Sarawak.
Yeah.
Actually, what triggers my curiosity is the word Dayak, because I'm a Dayak, and Dayak, most of us dwells in the rural. So that was an awakening. So I joined officially as a member of Parti Bangsa Dayak Sarawak in 1986, 16th of September. That's about 39 years ago. All right, and that's how I started.
Wow. I think if you actually look back, and then I'm not going to actually say like how long I have been, you've been longer than me, but coming from also from a Dayak, which is minority, is really something. And we talk about minorities, giving the chance for them. But I think you've actually become that role model as well, representing
so.
the minorities.
I hope so.
Again, this is where we actually come in, to really talk about this. So thank you so much, Wagidato. So for Honorable Alice Lau, so again, you're still categorized as youth. So since entering politics in 2011, you have served as a member of the House of Representatives and now a deputy speaker. Wow, salute. So what have been the most significant challenges that you've basically encountered in entering the political arena and progressing in your career? And how did you navigate these obstacles and shape your own leadership journey?
Before entering politics, I was a pharmacist, living a very standard working life, focused on serving the community in a healthcare setting, following a structured and stable routine.
Wow.
Transitioning from the private sector to politics was a major shift. I had to step out of my comfort zone and learn to navigate a completely different environment filled with public scrutiny, unpredictability, and high stakes of decision making. Wow. Yeah. So I was the first female candidate in my hometown. That was in 2011. There was never a female candidate, not even the candidate. But I lost that time.
Okay.
I lost that time, yeah. So one of the early challenges was overcoming the perception that women don't belong in politics. And professionals like pharmacists don't belong in politics. Yeah. So I had to prove that skills like critical thinking, attention to detail, public service are just as vital in the political realm.
Right.
So that time I was 30 years old, don't count the age. So I considered myself as young woman entering politics that time. So you enter a male-dominated field. I also faced subtle gender bias and had to work twice as hard to gain the same recognition and respect. So groundwork became essential. I spent significant time engaging with grassroots communities to understand their needs and aspirations, building trust and relationships that remain the foundation of my political work. So like what I said just now, I lost in 2011, the first election that I contested, but I didn't give up. So I continued to learn and voice out and be visible. Mentorship and guidance from seasoned political figures helped me navigate the learning curve, while my professional discipline helped me stay focused and grounded in principles. That's how.
Oh, wow.
the
I mean,
journey.
so basically you didn't give up. I mean, even though you failed the first time.
Yes.
So you change strategy, look at how it's best to actually do, and go down to the grassroots. I think that's really important. Get mentorship. That's what you're basically saying. Now, how would you actually describe, YB, the current political landscape for women in Malaysia, particularly within the parliaments, and in terms of legislation, the available platforms there is, and opportunities. And in addition to that, what role can political parties play in fostering a more enabling environment that actively encourages and supports women participation in politics?
Following the 14th general election, which is 2018 in Malaysia, it was 32 women in parliament. That was 13.9%.
Yeah.
That was 2018, the 14th general election. Yeah. But after the 15th, it became 30, which is now. So the numbers dropped. It means that we contribute less than one woman for every 7 members of parliament. In terms of legislation, our Article 8(1) of the Federal Constitution explicitly ensures all persons are equal before the law and entitled to equal protection of the law. Meanwhile, Article 8(2) of the Federal Constitution was amended in 2001 to prohibit gender discrimination. So in addition, the Parliament of Malaysia passed the amendments of Federal Constitution to lower the eligible age voting from 21 to 18 years old in July 2019, which I was one who supported it.
Oh,
yeah, I was in parliament at that time. The amendment also provides for automatic registrations of voters aged 18. So this allow young women and men to actively participate in politics. So not only men, but also young women. Despite the progress, I have to say I personally must acknowledge that our work is far from complete. Actually, there's another data from All Women's Action Society and Pantau PRU 15 from Malaysia in the last Malaysia's general election. Out of 7.3 million women, which making up 50.4% of the registered voters, only 251 out of 2,333 candidates were women.
wow.
Yeah. So it proves that even when women constitute nearly half of the electoral electorate, they remain disproportionately low as political candidates. That is why just now you mentioned about, Dato' Toris also mentioned about the political parties' role. So I have to say political parties can play a transformative role in leveling the political landscape, but it requires concrete action, not talk only. We have been talking about the quota and everything, but nothing happened. And we can see the number is actually going down instead of we want to have more women. So first, I think we must institutionalize gender quotas, not just as token of representation, but with the clear enforcement mechanism. Second, I think most political parties, we now have women wings. So we need to have real authority in candidate selection and policy formation, not just ceremonial roles. Okay, we have women wings and all this. And also, of course, we need systemic support. Just now we also mentioned we have to have this financial incentive for constituencies that nominate women, and mentorship pipelines to prepare female leaders, and combat training to handle the unique challenges women face in politics. So I think to put women as a leader, this is not about charity. It is about recognizing that the political system cannot be truly representative until parties dismantle structural barriers holding women back.
This is very interesting. I think what we Datu also you did touch during our special dialogue.
Yeah.
You know, with regards to the parties, we really need to actually say in different ways. So perhaps maybe you can actually add on.
Yeah. Actually, my party, Parti Rakyat Sarawak, me together with Senator Rita, we did a bit of transformation, i.e. we drafted the constitution for the party, making it, to, so to speak, mandate gender quotas to
Right.
30%. Yeah. Our constitution is, I should say, gender friendly. But still again, when it comes to political parties, this bias mechanism, with due respect to my party leaders or in the party, they are male dominant.
Yes.
So no matter how friendly your constitution is, if the power that be, is dominated, you still find a bit, how should I say, a bit tough
Yes.
to move forward.
All right.
But we have taken that step. At least constitutionally, the party constitution is friendly. I mean, we have that specifically mentioned in the party constitution. Now, talking about political parties, because I don't know about other countries, but in Malaysia, the political parties, so to speak, recommends who should be the candidate for the general election, for the state election. And now, if the political parties does not take into consideration women members or women participation as candidate, how do you expect to be a parliamentarian or in the state council or so forth? So that's why political parties plays a very, very important role. I even suggested earlier, perhaps if IPA or ASEAN for that matter can come up with what do you call that, a policy framework or something like that, a legal framework to actually so that this members country can come out with an enacted law specifically for political parties, so that they can abide by it. And abiding by it is not enough, but we must have this audit system to see whether they have achieved this target. Because if you talk about it, just talking advocacy and things like that, we've talking about it for years, for ages.
It's been so long,
So we
yes.
have to, to be drastic about it.
yes,
That's how I
absolutely.
see it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've heard, I think during our special dialogue, there's a lot of sharing coming in, especially from Vietnam, from Philippines as well. I mean, so this is whether we normally say like best practice coming in, we learn from it
Yes.
and see how we can actually do things like together. So I'm going to go back to YB Allison in terms of how has Malaysia's approach to enhance the participation of women within the parliament aligned with YPA's efforts to foster a greater political representation for women across the ASEAN?
Malaysia has made significant progress in reducing gender inequalities by actively implementing initiatives to promote equality and prevent discrimination both in legislation and in practice. A notable example is the amendment of the standing orders of the House of the Representative, which prohibits sexual remarks during sessions. So we can actually chase out the member of parliament if they say any sexual remarks. I mean, there's a standing order that we can use to actually stop them or ask them to retract or whatever. So additionally, in 2022, Malaysia gazetted the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act 2022 to raise awareness and combat sexual harassment. So this legislation creates a safer environment that encourages greater participation of women in politics without the fear of being harassed.
Yes.
So I think harassment, most young women, why they don't dare to join politics. The first thing, I think they are scared of all this harassment.
Correct.
Yeah, because there's too many bad examples before this. So I think this act can actually somehow or rather help them to have the courage, at least the courage to join politics. And in 2023, the House of Representatives established the Special Select Committee on Women, Children and Community Development to prioritize women's empowerment and ensure that proposed bills and policies promote greater gender equality, including efforts to accelerate women's participation in politics. Actually, we had this Special Select Committee since 2018. But because of the some political unstable, in Malaysia, so this committee is like on and off. They change the name, but there's always the women thing in. Actually, I remember in 2020, actually when the new government by then, they actually don't want to have special select committee on women. They say, no, we must, since you want gender equality, then there shouldn't be any special select committee on women, or else I would ask for special select committee for men. So, but I said no, because we still need all these. It includes the children, community, and all these disabilities, minority groups. So we fought for it until it formed. But after 2022, we renamed the Special Select Committee. So now it is on women, children, and community development. So also we have this National Women's Policy 2025 to 2030 has been launched to strengthen existing frameworks, enhance enforcement against domestic violence offenders, and address gaps in previous policies, with more focus on the protection of women, especially victims of domestic violence. I think that helps.
Yeah, so that's basically currently new because it's a 2025 June. Yeah, and it's really interesting is because it's to protect the women. So to ensure that they're not scared, right? So because it is a platform where we actually want to have more women to be involved and not to be scared, right? Thank you. So now I'm going to turn to you, Honorable Datu Doris. Now it has been, you mentioned your journey But since you actually last chaired, so that was a decade ago, as a chair of WIPA. And looking back, how would you describe its evolution over the past 10 years? Where and what sort of key milestones have shaped its progress? And what important lessons have emerged from this journey?
Yeah, it's a decade ago. It's 2015. I suddenly feel very old.
Only 10
No.
years ago.
To be honest with you, I think it evolved quite slowly, but surely. Surely, because when I look at WIPA, especially WIPA is very instrumental in pushing this gender issue. We will get there, but it's a matter of time. But then again, there are surely things that we can do to expedite it, but how? So I think this is something that we got to brainstorm upon. But as I said, I'm grateful to WIPA because I think WIPA is one of those platform, or rather women platform, that actually is moving forward quite well, although it is personally not to my expectation because I want it to happen fast. As I said, we were talking about gender equality issues 10 years ago, discrimination against women, and all this sort of. Here again, we're talking about the same thing, of course, in a different perspective. Now, when you talk about milestone, was that what you mentioned about? I'm looking at it from a bigger perspective, or rather a more complex perspective. I think the turning point was, if you recall correctly, I think it was 2017, the 31st ASEAN Summit,
Right.
if you recall. Okay, I think that was where they endorsed a joint statement on promoting gender equality or something like that, and security and peace.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Peace and security.
Yes, that's what it is. And then the good thing is, I think in the year 2022, I think ASEAN, based on that statement, draw up a regional plan. I think covering the three P's, which is participation, prevention, and protection. I think so. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And the good thing is, IPA in 2023, using that to promote, they actually come up with a development plan to promote women participation in politics and leadership.
Correct.
So I think it has been continuous. And WIPA itself, I think, as I mentioned earlier, I salute, I take my hat off, because WIPA, being instrumental in their approach on women, on this gender issue, you have done a good job. WIPA has done a good job, especially in strengthening ties. Yeah, I see this is important. The speaker mentioned just now, there's no way a single body can, on this gender issue. It needs, you need to strengthen the ties, collaboration with regionally, with ASEAN states, with international bodies, United Nations, and so forth and so forth, to make it happen. To make it happen. And this I know WIPA has been pursuing. And another thing I think which is worth mentioning is about the initiative done by WIPA, investing in capacity building and leadership training and things like that, among others. And I think this is a good move, only that we need to think of a mechanism how we can push this further.
Yes, I think it's absolutely. I mean, we've been talking about it. Again, WIPA existed for 27 years, I believe. It is progressively moving for sure, but in a pace, but now we're actually picking up. We're really trying to actually pick up, especially what us from the ASEAN level, executive level is actually trying to do, and we pick it up from there. But I actually have to salute WIPA because of all our standing committee that we have under IPA. WIPA is the most progressive. I think it's because, again, the bond that we basically have among the women as well.
Also, as mentioned by the speaker just now, in ASEAN, we have 700 million. The population is that big, and out of that, 50% of this population are women. It's a shame because the focus now, I think Your Excellency mentioned, is focus. The focus now is on ASEAN, and if we don't activate fully this ASEAN capital, I should say, human capital, we are bound to not make it there. If half of this population, macam, like your body, if half of it is paralyzed, you don't activate it, it will be paralyzed. So it is important for ASEAN, for AIPA, for WIPA to drive this message, to drive this thinking, to make sure that everybody is involved. This human capital is so important to drive ASEAN, to strengthen ASEAN for now and in the future.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Now, as a WIPA chair, Honorable Alice, now what do you see is the biggest challenges? Because this year, you have the theme, but then we're now listening to, during our coordination meeting, there's a lot of really good advice and also the way forward. So the biggest challenge, and also with challenges, there will always be opportunities as well, in advancing gender balanced representation in parliaments across the ASEAN. So how can WIPA address them effectively?
Okay, advancing gender balanced representation in ASEAN parliaments faces significant challenges. I think everybody knows that. Deep-rooted patriarchal norms continue to discourage women's participation in politics, while electoral systems and the lack of effective quotas create cultural barriers. Women in politics also face something like harassment, online violence, and now with AI some more, which deters many from pursuing leadership roles. According to the IPU report, 76% of female parliamentarians in the Asia-Pacific region, including ASEAN countries, have experienced psychological gender-based violence. So additionally, unequal access to funding, political networks, and mentorship limits their competitiveness. Despite regional commitments to gender equality, enforcement remains weak. So the digital gender gap marginalizes women in increasingly online political spaces. So there's always opportunities for the progress. There are promising opportunities to drive change. ASEAN's regional frameworks and the UN Sustainable Development Goals explicitly prioritize gender equality, providing a strong foundation for reform. So many member states already have laws and quotas aimed at advancing women's political representation. Just now we hear from Vietnam, we hear from Thailand and all these. Actually, we in Malaysia, I think we have like in our own political parties, we also set all these quotas. But just like what Dato' Tori said just now, when we set some quotas in our own political parties, we have to make sure that the public, the voters, they also participate. They also feel like they are inclusive. That's why we say inclusivity. So when we have the candidates, the women candidates, but they lost, then there won't be any women parliamentarian in parliaments as well. So there's a lot of things that we can do. So just now we have from Philippines implements party list quota, requiring that 20% of the party nominees be women. So in Indonesia also, they have these legislated candidate quotas mandating that at least 30% of the party candidates must be women. And Malaysia has established a policy target of 30% of women representation in decision-making roles. In my party as well, actually we also, it's not in the constitution yet, I mean the number of candidates, but my Secretary General announced it. We must at least, try to reach 30% for next coming election. And also, actually, as of now, we have 10 out of 40 member of parliaments are women. So it's already 25%. Yes. So I think that's achievement. And I think we are looking forward for better participation. So for the women's movement and civil society organizations are actively advocating for change, creating powerful partnerships. So that helps us as well. There is also a growing pool of qualified women leaders ready to take on political roles. And also, I think political parties also play important roles, like training them to become leaders. Or else, when you want to get candidate, you have no leaders. You don't have the pool of trained women. So I think that will be very important also. Digital tools offer new avenues for campaigning and voter engagement. So while WIPA itself serves as platform for cross-border collaboration and advocacy. So just now, as a chair of WIPA, Sajan asked, I believe we must take decisive this action. We should advocate for stronger quotas and launch campaigns to challenge harmful stereotypes. Capacity building programs can train women in leadership, campaigning, and legislative processes. In fact, I can see with all these WIPA meeting, we can learn from one another. So today, a lot of people, a lot of delegates say, oh, they are very, they brought something very good back because they heard from different countries. So I think that is the platform of WIPA, why we are here today. So we learn, and that's where we can work together for betterment in our region. So we also must push for parliamentary reforms such as anti-harassment policies, childcare support. That is one of the very important one, to create more inclusive environments, building networks among women MPs. So we are sisters, so we are not enemies. Just now, one of the panelists say actually sometimes female don't support females. So we have to change the mindset that we have to build the networks among women. So women support women, and also engaging now, not
just women itself.
Yes, we have to engage. That's what one of the panelists also said. We must work together. Somehow they are there, and we are not trying to take over, but we must work together. As of, now. Maybe one day we are stronger. Okay, they will work with us by then. So I also think that WIPA can develop regional standards for gender balanced representation and monitor progress to hold governments accountable. Addressing violence against women in politics, both offline and online, is critical. So finally, we must bridge the digital divide to ensure women can fully participate in modern political campaigns. By tackling these barriers and leveraging existing opportunities, I think WIPA can drive meaningful progress towards gender-balanced governance across ASEAN. And achieving equal representation is not just about fairness. I think someone mentioned it just now. It leads to more effective and inclusive policy making for all.
Wow, how I wish I have more time to ask you so many questions. So we are down to our final questions, and I'll ask the same question to both of you. But I will actually go to Honorable Datu Doris first. The final bit is what sort of guidance would you offer to inspire them to break these barriers, lead with purpose, and contribute to a more inclusive ASEAN? What would your advice be to the next future women leaders in ASEAN?
Not so much of guidance, but advice, as you say. Be persistent. Be resilient. Don't give up. Speak up, stand up, and be counted. Because leadership does not require permission. It requires you moving forward with conviction, with purpose. Okay, it is our fundamental right as human beings, as women, to do so.
Yes,
that's my advice.
Thank you. Now I will actually ask the same question and advice to the younger ones, because you are young, but you are then telling this to the younger ones who's actually listening.
Okay, I think as a leader, we do believe we must build the table, we shape the agenda, and invite others to come in with us. So that is why we said we lead by example. If we ourselves don't want to stop halfway, Dato' Doris already said, never give up. Yes. Don't give up. So we must lead by example. We show the young women that we are here. Please come and join us. So to all women outside, my advice is be bold and be visible. Be bold and visible. Speak your truth. Even sometimes our voice will shake a bit. Yeah. And there will be resistance, but remember, progress has always been made by those who dare to persist. So I strongly encourage all women to come and join politics and be part of us. And together, I think we build a future where women in power is not the exception but the norm. So I think politics needs your clarity, your communities need your compassion, and the world needs your leadership.
Wow. Thank you so much to both Honorable Alice and also Honorable Datu Doris for really sharing your insights. I'm fully inspired. I mean, like, look, I've been like really in the ASEAN arena. But again, you know, I can never, I would say, bored hearing from all this. It's because women just keep on inspiring all the time. And your leadership continues to inspire. I mean, not just me. I'm absolutely inspired, but the younger generations. And we are very grateful for your contributions to advancing women's political participation in Malaysia and across the ASEAN. So we are also thrilled to see Malaysia's leadership coming from Tan Sri as well, from our IPA president, now in championing this agenda, both nationally and through its role in WIPA. So thank you very much for listening to IPAcast, and stay tuned for more episodes, and don't forget to follow our social media. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.